Cramer here, and today I'm really excited. Today I'm with Nestor Gibbs. So Nestor Gibbs is actually the founder of the Boxing Voice podcast. And today we're going to talk about why work ethic matters. Ness, thanks. So I should have asked you.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. Do I call you Ness? I know you as Ness.
Yeah,
I know you as Ness,
fine.
not Nestor specifically. So I guess thanks so much for stopping by to touch on how successful you've been so far. So the Boxing Voice is, maybe you can tell it a little bit better than I can, but your podcast gets 350,000 downloads every month.
Mhm.
Your YouTube channel has almost 30,000 subscribers, I think.
130.
My apologies. I looked at it. I did look at it earlier. So apologies for that. So you're huge everywhere, all over the place. So
Not quite yet, but trying. And that's why work ethic is important to me.
Absolutely. So Ness, first of all, so obviously thanks for coming. You mentioned earlier this morning that you have an announcement. So I would love for you to talk about that. I don't know if you want to talk about it now or if you want to encourage people to stay listening and then you can talk about it later.
Yeah, a little bit later in the show. Let's get those listeners up and make sure you guys go ahead and share and like this video.
Absolutely. So we're live on a few different channels right now. We're live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, a couple other channels.
LinkedIn, that's new. How's that?
It's good. So actually that's why I started going live in the first place, because I got granted, not everybody gets access to LinkedIn Live.
Mm-hmm.
So I got granted LinkedIn Live access. So then I felt like I had to. So
you're huge.
Well, I have access to LinkedIn Live. I guess it's a little bit different than everybody else. So yeah, not huge, not like you, Ness, not yet.
I mean, I'm live to the world, but you're live to the business world. So
it's true.
That's a powerful tool.
Absolutely. And Ness, while we're talking, just so that most of my audience is small to medium business owners, entrepreneurs, people who do need to have an amazing work ethic, people who do, struggle sometimes. Like when you first got started, or like way back, what made you decide to launch your podcast, to launch your own business?
Well, it was way before it was a business. It was a hobby. It's always been a passion. And I think that, as cliche as that sounds, find something you love and you never work a day in your life. Well, that is absolutely true. Unfortunately, it is not a cliche. It's true. So, boxing is such a niche sport. It's so small when you compare it to some of these bigger sports like a basketball, or where you're from in Canada, I'm assuming hockey. It's easy to talk to someone about that said sport. You can go to a bar and watch that said sport. It's not quite the same in every country when it comes to boxing. So I just didn't have anyone to talk boxing with. It's as simple as that. I didn't have anyone to celebrate or express those frustrations when things didn't go the way that I thought they would on television. And the passion for boxing led me to take to social media many years ago, and I feel so grateful now. That social media is like the wave. So I got on very early to Twitter, and fighters were so accessible. So the sport I loved, I was just able to literally touch someone that I never had a chance to speak to, someone that was 1,300, 2,500 miles away, and connect. And what is now, such I guess, underrated word now, network, allowed me to find other podcasts. Really, it didn't become, like I didn't want to podcast until I actually found boxing podcasts. And it's gonna come off cocky and arrogant, but I didn't like what I heard. I thought we can do more, and I was so thirsty and hungry for more. I mean, when I started, people were only doing one show a month, and it just wasn't enough. I love the sport, so I finally got into it from a podcasting standpoint, and I started doing 8 shows a month. Again, work ethic.
Yeah. Maybe just so that everyone can understand what the Boxing Voice is, maybe can you explain what exactly it is?
Absolutely. It's a multi, It's a multimedia platform. We're on various forms of social media, and we have a decent following. And we do a daily podcast. We have a .com that gets about 2,000 to 5,000 hits a day. We do a daily show that gets anywhere from 20,000 hits, globally, because we do what you do. Just we don't have your LinkedIn access. So we, simulcast not only to YouTube, but to Blog Talk Radio. And we're on iHeart and iTunes and TuneIn and Stitcher and wherever podcasts are found. So, we have a lot of different avenues to promote the sport, talk about the sport, and I guess give visibility to products as well, and talent, up and coming prospects. It's been 12 years now. So finally the hard work again. That's why when your producer asked me what, I said it has to be work ethic, because I'm finally starting to, another cliche. What is it? You reap what you sow, right? So all the hard years of grinding, 2021 has opened up some fantastic doors. I'm being told to look into the camera. I'm usually not the one being interviewed. So
I know. It's kind of cool, because also the people who are interested in you and always listen to your podcast are able to see kind of like a different Ness, maybe, because you're usually the one doing the interviewing, right?
A shyer Ness. I'm like looking down and like waiting for the next question.
That's okay. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I've known you for probably eight of the last year, so it's definitely exciting to see, how far you've come. It's pretty cool. So Ness, when you talk about work ethic, how do you think your growing up, your youth, your school, your family, how do you think that impacted your work ethic?
I would definitely say, and I think, my mom influenced me a lot. I think she has the hustler's gene. She worked as a secretary when she first started, very young, in the city of Newark, New Jersey, right in City Hall. And, like my significant other, she worked her way up the ladder in City Hall of Newark. But because of her ambition and that hustler gene, she would go to New York City when it was popular many, many years ago. I sound so old. Many, many years ago, when Canal Street was like the place to go and get just everything cheaper. So she would literally do that, whatever money she could get, buy things, bring it back and resell it in her office. So, women would buy like costume jewelry. That thing was big back then. So I think I seen my mom, be the hustler. Like, I know for a fact she was the one that came up with the down payment for the first house. So I think she probably instilled that hustler gene in me.
Yeah. And I think being able to not just be taught something, but to actually see it take place, especially when you're a kid. I mean, it's just what you know, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, she was a go-getter. So I think it's definitely what made me ambitious. And probably being in the inner city, kids in the inner city always have big dreams. So, to attain those big dreams, you got to work hard for sure.
So being that kids have big dreams and you had a big dream, what have you had to do to get where you are? Like when it comes to work ethic, what have you had to just make sure it happens in order to get where you are?
What didn't I have to do? I mean, countless sleepless, again, everything that we call a cliche is just real life. Like, people say, oh, you want to be a business owner, but then when you're working more than your 40 hours a week, so you just have to really pick your poison, because I work nonstop, and you need a very a very strong significant other. Not every person can deal with an ambitious and a highly motivated person. It can be a turnoff, because people can get confused and think that you're more invested or interested in your growth or your finances than the people that you allegedly love or don't love, because you're not giving the proper attention. But again, it's work ethic. It's it's striving to want to accomplish a goal. Like for me, when I was younger, I had those dreams. I thought I was going to be a basketball player. But now it's little goals, attainable goals. And if you knock out little goals, you're always winning. It's hard to come down off a high if you're continuously winning. So if you set little goals, you're always in the green. Hard to be in the red,
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. So Eric Cruz is actually asking a question. So we have Todd saying hello. Eric Cruz just turned in. He asks, what did you have to sacrifice to get where you're at?
Well, I had to sacrifice, I would say, my first marriage.
Oh.
First marriage, you have to go through things, I guess, to know how to do them correctly sometimes. And I was too much about the business, I would say, in my first marriage, and didn't know how to delegate the proper time to everything else in my life. But again, it just boils down to the same thing: how bad you want it. You ain't gonna get nowhere in life without really buckling down and doing the work. And you need to learn early on that no one loves what you're doing more than you.
Yeah.
No passion is gonna match yours. I've gone through dozens of co-hosts because they cannot see the vision, and even if they do, that road is so long. It's so long that they drop off. And this is what I'm saying. Look, this is the year that I'm finally like, oh my God, look at what's going on. I'm thanking God every year, because it's finally starting to manifest. And I say it on my own show almost daily. I feel sorry for the guys that didn't stick around, because it's finally becoming what we all envisioned.
Yeah.
It's just growing to be so much more. We've built such a strong, tight-knit community of so many people globally. Again, I've met your husband through my show. The names and the amount of people, the types of jobs, the businesses that they're in. I love my show. I love my show. I really do. I'm really happy.
It is. I mean, you have very, very loyal listeners, and it's a great show. It's definitely a great show. So I know you've had to sacrifice a lot, probably even more than your first marriage, to get where you are.
Countless hours. I mean, miles. I've driven so many, because the secret is obviously profit margin. So, you can live that life and, I guess get Instagram famous by spending the money on the flights and the fancy hotels, or grinding it, getting on the road, putting in the hard miles and work, and building those organic relationships. And I think that's what I've done. My motto from the very beginning has always been big, little, small, interview them all. I don't get caught up in how many pay-per-views you sold. I'm looking at talent. And I think that approach is opening doors. I'm doing things in this business that I didn't even expect to be able to do. And I think it comes from that, from being in those gyms, and I want to shout out Gabe Montoya. I bet you'll never expect that, He said that many, many years ago, you got to get in the gym. Sorry. You got to get in the gym if you really want to do this job. That's the only way that you're going to have your ear to the street. Not only that, but truly understand the sport. And, getting in that ring, which is another thing I recommend. Apologies about the phone call. I have everything connected to my studio, so I don't miss anything. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So including get into the ring?
Yeah, I recommend that. I recommend that because, when I started, right, again, I was a fan first, and there was many different steps to getting to where I got. So, I would also speak like a fan and assume that a fighter can do more or should do less. And it was naive of me. You have to actually be in the ring to understand how difficult lasting 3 minutes with another man trying to take your head off is. So I think it's invaluable piece of information that anyone can get, even as a boxing fan. That's why we do our own white collar show. It's called Border Wars. Your husband actually christened us with the name. And, we're on our 12th season, which is another thing. Again, another hard, long road, something that we started so many years ago. It manifested from two co-hosts not getting along, something that we recorded with cell phones for many, many seasons. And now it's being professionally produced by a television studio. They fly out. I mean, we can literally sell pay-per-views to it. So again, it's a long road, but you got to keep at it and, hope for the best. And sometimes, if you work hard enough, it's going to come. I just, that's the only advice I can give, because again, for me, it was always a hobby. It was always a hobby until it turned into my day-to-day job. So, yeah.
I think there's so many people who they want what you have, and they think that they can get there easily, or they quit after they hit an obstacle. I guess what kind of advice, or what advice would you give to someone who is, maybe they're a hard worker, but they're just, sometimes you just hit these obstacles that just, make you question. I don't know. I guess, have you had the experience of questioning, like, is this really even worth it? And how did you get over that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a point in my life where I questioned quitting. Honestly, obviously it was during my divorce, right? The thing is that I never stopped doing this daily show. So I wore the mask throughout the whole time. People didn't even know that I was being, that I got separated, that I was going through a divorce. Every day I still had to wake up, put on the happy face, and give you TBV in the morning, and still try to do more. But also, I lost a second income, essentially. It was a 2-income home. So I had to replace that, and I couldn't do it. I mean, the walls were closing in on me at that point, honestly. I mean, right now, wow, that's 2021. So I think that's 6 years ago. Excuse me. And question quitting. I definitely questioned quitting. I even talked about it out loud. So some of my inner circle contacted me, and, things started to change. I put the blinders on and just kept working, but it got ugly. So anybody out there that's questioning, listen, it's going to get ugly. It can get dark, and I mean really dark, like missing mortgage payments, but I'm so happy to say that, because this very same business has me in a state I dreamed of living. I've relocated my entire family. I bought my second home, still got my first home. So, saying that I went through trials and tribulations and thought I was gonna lose that very first home is an amazing story because of the journey. Because if you just continue your work ethic, some good has to come from it. It did for me, and I'm just a regular guy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, it is hard, because you're almost, even though you have friends, maybe you have peers, you're always on your own. Like you said, nobody who joins your business, nobody who partners with you, nobody who joins your team, they're never going to be as passionate about what you're doing as you are.
Totally agree. And that's the first thing people really need to understand. You're going to receive tons of support with anything that it is that you do in the beginning, but ultimately the long hours and the late nights are you by yourself. Mm-hmm. And it boils down to how bad you want it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric has another question for you. When did you stop questioning yourself about quitting, or is it still an ongoing battle? Is that still something that you wrestle with?
No, I mean, I will say this, because it's testimony. I questioned quitting. I guess the word got around through some of the inner circle, and I received a sponsor that, stood with me for so many years to come. And it wasn't like it was life-changing money, to be honest with you. It was like a car payment. But seeing that someone believed in me that much to say, look, this is what I can do because I believe in this show. Just advertise my business and I'll give you this much a month. When he's basically seeing that I want to go away, that I don't think it's worth it, that gave me, I guess, motivation, to see that there is something here and I just have to keep trying. And again, it's a long road. It's a long road. I just now, in my opinion, I've just now in 2021 found the magic product. I've just, my issue, I felt like I've never had a product. I've had the audience, I don't have the product. And now my product is not even, I don't have to advertise it to my audience. It's not even for them. But finally, after 12 years, with this new venture that I have started with some of my closest friends, I think I have the best product. And we've just started, and it's one of the best things I've done. Is the best thing I can say is just a fantastic idea that is taken off, and the trajectory just seems to be through the roof. So it just takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And so of everything that you've done, that's amazing. You've done a lot of really amazing things to come this far and to be this successful. What do you think you could do better?
Be more social. Be more social. That would be, I guess, the second piece of advice, because networking is so huge. But if you're not social, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? I'm 6'5". I'm not, like, I don't wear the Sugar Ray Leonard smile on my face. So it makes it a little bit difficult. People are intimidated, to break the ice. So I would say be social, be extra social. And I think that goes a long way because, again, it breaks the ice and you get the conversation going. Once you get talking, you know what you have. And hopefully you know how to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say, what are you the most grateful for in your life?
Wow. In my life. Wow. You want to narrow it down to that. But I would have to say, I would honestly have to say, even if it hurts feelings, I would have to say it is this brand, because without this brand, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be able to support my children. I mean, I wouldn't be living my dream. I would probably be depressed. I would probably be upset. I would, so many things, it has to be this, because honestly, I just thank God every day that this is my life. Like, I literally get up to work from home in great weather. It's 85 degrees outside. I mean, if you would have told me this 10 years ago, I would have laughed. I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't invested in the stock, nothing. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it.
You didn't believe in yourself, or you didn't believe?
I wouldn't believe that podcast that I was going to start because I didn't have anyone to talk boxing with was going to turn into what it is right now. Yeah. What it is right now. And the thing is that there is no ceiling. There's no ceiling. Not only on what I can make financially, but there's no ceiling on what I can do, because every day I have the potential of meeting a new listener in a completely different field that opens a completely different door. Like, I'm doing business with the future mayor of Watertown, Wisconsin. Who would have told me I was going to go to Watertown, Wisconsin and do business, right, with the future mayor? It's just not supposed. I'm from Norton, New Jersey. I'm not supposed to know him. So this podcast has opened so many virtual doors. It's made me global. I mean, I have, again, little goals too. So someone may be looking for financial gain, but for me, no one can ever take that I was in Manchester, England with Deontay Wilder, which now, in retrospect, right, that was the announcement of the first fight that's led to a trilogy of the biggest heavyweight fight in boxing history, really, because if Wilder can win, there is no heavyweight story bigger than Wilder Fury. So it's like, this podcast, I thank God daily, because this podcast continues to just do amazing things for me, my family, my close friends. I mean, look at Info Joe. You know him maybe, but I know that your husband does. And like, he's doing announcing now, and I can see him being on television, announcing professional fights. It's just, some people like to joke like, man, a lot of people that work with you are somewhere else, and sometimes that did hurt, Rebecca. Like, damn, I lost another great host or another great correspondent, but I quickly realized that I'm cultivating guys, I'm their stepping stone. But that's what I realized, that the platform has gotten to the level that everybody's watching. So yeah, you're going to get a job because you work with me, because they're watching. Absolutely, you'll get an offer to fight on television because they're watching. And that's what no one can take from me. I get messages. Listen, I just dropped some sparring and got messages from promoters. I couldn't believe it, and that's why when I was at the Logan Paul Mayweather, that was my statement. This little podcast, look where it's got me, to the Logan Paul Mayweather fight, and the one before that with McGregor, and the one before that with Pacquiao. Like, I'm living like boxing history every day. And if it's your passion, how could you not be happy?
Exactly. And who knows what is to come, right? These are the ones that you've already, the things that you've already accomplished, but who knows what there is to come. And just, so I mentioned, I guess, just subscribers and downloads, but the Boxing Voice, that's the #1 boxing podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And no one in the world has more 5-star reviews than the Boxing Voice. You know, look, HBO, which is a corporation, is there. Showtime is there. My good friend Chris Mannix with Sports Illustrated. Numerous people in the sport, but again, no one comes close to TBV. We're grinding, man. We're working, and we want to keep that #1 position, and that's why work ethic is important.
Absolutely. So keep that #1 position. What do you see for, like, if you were to look five years down the road? What would you envision for the Boxing Voice, for Ness?
I honestly, it's funny you even say that, because I joke about it with my wife. I say, I can't wait to see where we're at in 5 years. I can't tell you what I envision, because every day something else happens, or, you know, a new opportunity. Like, you would have asked me last year if I'm going to commentate live fighting, I would have said no. You know, I'm happy doing my show, or I'm happy going to live fights. And now that's become our thing. We commentated a live show in Atlanta with Big Time Promotions, and now we're going to be back July 16th and 17th in Atlanta with a completely different promoter, with TriStar Boxing and Southpaw Promotions. And then we're back July 31st with the first promoter. And, you know, today at 12, I had a conversation with another promoter, and it's just so many things are happening at such a rapid pace that I just know in 5 years from now, I'm going to be worth more. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in terms of, you know, what venture or nothing. It'll be in boxing. I will never get out of it. But I just can't tell you what it would be. I just expect something great to come.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's on its way.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, you mentioned that you had a big announcement to make.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe that in 5 years, maybe I reach my goal. You know, I set a number, and if I can reach my goal, I guess in 5 years, of how many clients I'll have under my new publicity agency that me and my closest friends have formed together. And yeah, in a matter of, you know, weeks of me coming up with the idea, formulating it, creating the LLC, and jumping on my phone, we already have 7 clients.
Wow.
That we do publicity for. I have 2 heavyweights by the name of Derek Sterling and Mac Truck, aka Dakari Scott. I got Christian Otero, Dylan Price, who was formerly with the Mayweather Promotions. I actually have big names in a matter of weeks, and I'm in talks with so many people. I got a manager that wants to give me 6 of his fighters. So it's like I said, I finally have the product that I've been looking for. And yeah, I mean, that's the announcement. We're doing publicity for fighters and promoters as well, for their fight cards, and business is booming. It's insane what the game was missing. 2 times they let me slide in.
I mean, I think something that I've learned is that sometimes you just need one more product.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need one more thing. Maybe what you have is great, but there's more opportunities, which is, I mean, if you're just announcing this right now and you already have 7 clients, that's
what I was telling you. I'm not even using my own platform to attract new customers, which I can, because fighters listen to my show every day. You know, fighters are misrepresented every day, don't have publicists, don't even know what a publicist is. I've literally had to explain it. So I have the perfect product. I know that for me, for my niche, and for what it is that I'm doing. And look, there's other people out there, just like there were other podcasts, but I feel there's a void, and I'm going to fill it.
Love that. So the publicity that you're helping people with, that is for boxers only, or who would be those clients?
I'm doing boxers at the moment. It's funny you mentioned that. I had a conversation with a woman last night that would be interested in actually us handling, her promotion and doing some publicity on her, because she does charity boxing events in Texas. And hopefully we can work something out with her. But yeah, it's not limited to boxers, but it is limited to the field and niche of boxing, obviously, because that is my strong suit. Again, another phrase. I stay in my lane. Boxing is my lane. This is where I think I can thrive and where I can defend myself. So everything else is for everyone else. This is for me.
Love that. And if people were going to tune in to the Boxing Voice, what would they expect?
Little bit of everything. The show is global, and we not only have a landline, we accept international calls via the internet, like via VoIP. So it's like, you don't know who you're going to get. You can get someone from Malaysia. You can get someone from Nigeria. You'll get someone from the UK, Canada, New Jersey, different accents, different parts of the world. But what you are going to get are genuine people that want to express how the sport has made them feel on a daily basis. You're going to get, for all my entrepreneur business people out there, you're going to get 96% male ratio between the ages of 13 to 65. Actually, last month we had a 5% spike. Obviously, Mayweather was fighting Logan Paul. We had a 5.6% in 13 to 17-year-old demographic. But you're going to get a lot of men that spend money, because boxing is a sport that bleeds their consumers dry. We have a ridiculous amount of pay-per-views, not only on the high level, but on the low level. For instance, the cards that I'm going to be commentating, all three of them are, paid for. You have to pay to watch. So it's a very expensive sport, and you're going to get conversions.
So if anyone was listening and they wanted to, say, advertise or partner with you, that would be what they could expect. What about for listeners? What about for people tuning in who, maybe they like your story, maybe they're interested in, what could they expect if they're tuning into the Boxing Voice?
Again, different personalities and dozens and dozens of opinions. I think that is really what separates us, because you don't have to just be bored with my voice, because after I guess I give my take, we go to the phone lines and we get international, and you'll hear dozens and dozens of opinions on the same topic, if not numerous, right? People take their minute or 3 minutes, depending on the day, to express how they feel on that day.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So last question for you, Ness. It's a big one. What are you the most excited about in your life right now? What are you the most excited about?
I guess this move to Florida. I'm really happy. Like, I never knew how happy I was going to be. I think I told myself that Florida was the answer for so long that I'm living that. I'm living what I thought it would be. I spoke it into existence, this happy life. I literally wake up very happy being here. I'm never upset. I say that, like, if things don't change, Rebecca, I'm still going to be very happy. Just leave it the way it is. I'm super happy. So yeah, I think it's this move. The sun does something, having good weather makes you I work out more out here. You look better. You got a better tan, it's just the weather. I like the sun. I guess it's the move. Definitely the move to Florida has me. It's the happiest in my life right now.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Well, I hear you guys want to move to Miami.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
expensive, I'll tell you that. I'm about 2.5 hours from Miami, just far enough not to pay those Miami prices.
I don't know. I mean, so as you know, I'm in Calgary in Canada, and I think so it's June. I think we still had a little bit of snow in May. Like it was still, yeah, definitely.
I can't, like I said, I still have my home in New Jersey, but I refused to buy a snowblower because I knew that would make me settle in. I needed to shovel that driveway every day that snow fell to realize I have to get out of here. And that's what I'm saying. Work ethic. I talked about wanting to move to Florida for so long that when I looked, I was completely able to do it without selling my home. The first thing the realtor told me is, "Oh, do we got to close on your home first?" And I said, "No, I'm ready. Let's go." So work ethic, man. Nothing beats that. Nothing beats that. Not to me. I don't know. Maybe someone else has another magic formula they can let me in on the secret, but to me, it's nothing beats hard work.
Just hard work. Well, Ness, thank you so much for joining me today. Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice podcast. Yeah. And we're going to throw your links in all of the different channels that we are. And guys, thank you so much for joining me. You'll be able to also hear an edited version of this podcast on my podcast, which is called She Hustles, with myself, Rebecca Cramer. And Ness, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I love the name of that podcast, She Hustles.
Yeah, She Hustles.
Love it. Thank you for having me. Find me on forms of social media at The Boxing Voice, THABOXINGVOICE. And my personal Instagram is at NessGTO. Thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to do it again.